Hello and welcome with one more session. And of course, we will share some more questions. That's called sentence correction questions. Here we'll get some more ideas about. So keep on watching. The more video you will watch, the more you will get. And of course, there are a lot of ideas to share. We'll get most of them so valuable for you. Now, the first question here for sentence correction is, as usual, we should start reading. First, we should understand that what passage is about, what are the errors, and how to identify and what to identify errors in the sentence correction. So here, the Indian delegation and the War Office had meeting in 1968 to consider a possible Pakistani push to seize land and how they would have to act militarily to deal with them. So this is our first sentence. Here underlined words are how they would have to act militarily to deal with them. So you can see here the pronoun they, and would have to is not suitable for the GMAT. Why? Because generally we avoid have to, has to in the sentence correction. By the way, the problem is they. So here they means what? It is delegation and office, war office. But look, military act is done by only war office, not the delegation. So they, that's called the pronoun error. So here our pronoun is they have to act. So we can eliminate A, right? Now A has been eliminated. Now B, how to deal with them if military action would be necessary. So look at the word them, then. Exactly. Again, the same pronoun that they means what? What part of pronoun it is referring? If it is talking about the Pakistani push, so its mean again it is singular, so it should be it exactly. So B can be eliminated here. The another problem here, if military action would be, look, if plus would be, that's called the conditional sentence. In conditional sentence, whenever there is if, we never follow would but any tense like present tense and past tense and future tense. So another error we can find here, that's called would be, so we can eliminate B too. Now let's talk about the C. What would be necessary militarily for dealing with such an event? Look, the first sentence is redundant, so a lot of errors you can find, and the sentence sequence is not okay because look, what would be necessarily military for the, so subject verb is also misplaced. And of course one more reason, that for dealing, here the for dealing should not be. Why? Because as we have already discussed about in the slides, that whenever we use for ing, there must not be purpose. If there is purpose for action, that should be to deal, and here at the same time, that's called possible action to deal with such an event, that should be here. So another error to eliminate C, we can eliminate C. Now option D, what military action would be necessary in order to deal with such an events? Exactly, it seems fine because whatever the arrangement of the sentence, that all and everything is all right to deal with. It's also fine. So we can save it. Let's talk about option number E. The necessity of what kind of military action in order to take for dealing with it. All right, the pronoun is fine. But look, the same problem as I talked about, that a possible Pakistani push. What does it mean? Of course, it's mean that whatever the action will be done here, it must be future. And for future means what? It's a purpose. So for dealing doesn't suit here. And exactly the first part is also the same issue, that we can eliminate E also. So the necessity of what kind of military action in order to look that all are puzzled and the meaning is really diverted. So we can eliminate E too. So finally we are left with D. All right. Now question number 2. Age when designed caverns at Ronihio and Valladolid were occupied by Upper Paleolithic people has been established by carbon 14 dating, but what is much more difficult to determine are, look, the R, the reason for their decoration, the use to which primitive people put the caves, and the meaning of the magnificently depicted animals. So, R, look here, but what is much more difficult to determine is, so here here what that look, the whole clause is subject, and whenever the clause is subject we follow is, not are. If we talk about has been, it's all right, it must be singular. Why? Because age has been established by the carbon 14 dating, so we can eliminate a. All right, now let's talk about option number B. So A has been eliminated. B, it says has been established by carbon 14 dating, but what is much more difficult to determine is, okay, it seems fine. If you talk about the comparison part, it's also okay, there's no problem with it. So finally we can say B, but look at C, D, E option. If it's all right, then we can go with B. C says have been. The first error we found, have been should not be here. Of course, tense is, but tense is all right, but singular and plural. If the age is subject, it's called singular, and for the age we use has, not have. So we can eliminate C. All right. Now let's talk about D. The same problem, have, it can be eliminated. Established by carbon 14 dating, what is much more difficult to determine are. The same problem what has been repeated in twice, have and are. There are two errors, so we can eliminate D. Now it is are established by carbon 14 dating, but that which is more difficult to determine is. So here what is, but the first is pronoun, I would say subject verb agreement problem. That's called plural number. The second is but that which. So one conjunction, again pronoun, again pronoun. So it's, that's called redundancy. Like we cannot get that what the and for what which is being used. So we can eliminate E. That's called diverting from the sentences. E can be eliminated. So finally B is the correct answer. Before we go to the next question, I must share some points. Remember, the sentence, when it is sentence correction, of course we have 1 minute 45 seconds, but our aim or our strategy should be to finish it in 45 seconds to 1 minute. But remember, while reading choices we should keep patience. Why? Because until we read patiently we cannot get the meaning and of course the grammatical error. What happens generally when we read it hurriedly, we miss a lot of small points, and of course that's called blunder. Why? Because it can take us to incorrect choices. By the way, let's talk about that were the those were the keywords that we shared here. Now option number C, I mean to say question number 3. With jewelry, as with all ornaments, one should require a written detail of one's purchase. The description may prove useful later if you have reason to believe the jeweler misled you. All right, so what are the underlined words? One should inquire a written detail of one's purchase. In the second part of the clause, it says you. Remember, whenever we talk about you, in that case, the part of the grammar should belong to you. One and you should not be used in the same clause, in the same sentence. So here, one and you doesn't suit. So you should inquire a written detail. Look, you here the one. You should inquire a written detail of your purchase. The description may prove useful later if you have reason to believe the jeweler misled you. So we can eliminate E. These are the reasons that we have eliminated. So option A can be eliminated. B, you should inquire a written detail of your purchase. The description. The description may prove useful later if you have reason to believe the jeweler misled you. All right. C, a written detail. Look here, a written detail. So with jewelry, as with all ornaments, a written detail. So these are modifying a written detail. But here, with jewelry, you should inquire. With all ornaments, you should inquire. So these two are modifier for you. And here it's a written detail. So that's called incorrect modifier. So we can eliminate C2. There are one more reason to eliminate it. That's called one. As we discussed that, we have pronoun you, or in you, one doesn't suit, doesn't fit. So we can eliminate C. Let's talk about the D. A written detail of one's purchase. The same problem has been repeated in D part 2. And of course, here should be inquired, also not be used, but one reason is enough to eliminate it. So T can be eliminated. Aha. E has been repeated the same errors. A written detail of your purchase is what should be inquired, right? We can eliminate E, and now we are left with B. So whenever there are a lot of questions, remember that GMAT is not that much tough to solve. A lot of choices will be there to eliminate it. That's called a splitting system. And of course, you should be sharp enough to take a look of it. Why? Because GMAT gives ample opportunity to watch the best choices. So finally, let's talk about question number 4. As it is more frequent to have spouses who both do jobs, companies are beginning to help in finding new employment for the spouses of transferred employees. Look here, both. So both, the first both is not used separately, especially in the last, there should be both an and again, spouses who both do jobs. The rule for pronoun here, who, that's called modifier of spouses, who do jobs, so spouses do job, who plus verb should be here, and unnecessary pronoun part should not be used here, so that's called eliminate error, and we can eliminate it. So A can be eliminated. B, it is more frequent to have couples both doing jobs. Look here. The same problem has been repeated when we talk about the couples. Is it itself both? And again, doing jobs. So here, doing ing word should not be used. Why? Because we talk about this general statement that's called factual sentence. In factual sentence, is am are is not used at all. So we can eliminate B. C. It is more common that both husband and wife should be doing jobs of. So here it is more common that both husband and wife. It is more common for both husband and wife should be here. That is incorrect usage. Why? Because it is connecting the same sentence. So it is more common for both husband and wife should be doing jobs. Look, should be doing jobs should not be here. Why? Because in the factual sentence it is advice. So unnecessary should be doing, that's called continuous form, should be avoided, so we can eliminate C because of two reasons. Now D, it is more common for both husband and wife to do jobs. All right, so this is fine. And then of course companies are beginning to help in finding new employment for spouses of transferred employees. So here it's all right, both and correct idioms, and of course preposition is also all right, is a common for, not common that. A, couples in which both of spouses doing jobs more common. Look here, the whole sentence is redundant. Why? Because couples in which both. Remember, whenever we use in which, the word should be metaphor. And metaphor what? For time and place. So the couple here, look, couples is neither metaphor time not for place. So here there is in which is incorrect for both of these spouses. Look, both spouses of both of these spouses doing jobs more common. So same problem, that is the sentence is also not used properly. So we can eliminate E. Now, question number 5. A working crew study states that the numbers of young age worked somewhere else grew by more than a 35% increase in the past decade and accounted for more than 62% of the total growth in the civilian workforce. All right, look, grew and increase. That's called ambiguity, right? In the same sentence, whether it should be grew or increase, by the way, grow is not the correct one. When we talk about the changes in numbers, 35%, 36%, 37%, in that case, we should use increase, not grow. So this is error. That's called verb errors, tenses errors. We can eliminate A. Let's talk about B. Numbers of young age worked somewhere else grew more than 35%. Same problem. The percent is not grown, but it is increased. So the rule for percentage, when the number changes, The correct verb should be increased, not grew. Remember, in GMAT, such sense is checked about the grow, increased, raised. And remember, when we talk about a particular number that can be greater or less. But once the number changes, in that case, only increase the correct word, right? So grow means what? It's keep on changing. That's called the complete changes we use for the grow, by the way. B is eliminated. C, numbers of young age worked somewhere else were raised. Again, the same problem. The numbers of young age worked somewhere else were raised by more than 35%. As we discussed here, it is a number of people. So here raised means what? Actually, raising is not whether it's increasing or growing, but because it's a number, so when the number changes, we should go with increase the word. So here we can eliminate C2. Now we have option D. Numbers of young age worked somewhere else increased by more than 35%. All right, that we were looking for. D seems fine. E, numbers of young age worked somewhere else was raised by more than 35% of same word has been repeated. The problem is also with that, like it's a number. So here, whenever we talk about the numbers, of course, it should be were, not was at all. So here we can eliminate E2 raised, and of course the 35% increase, the same problem, raising, increasing the redundancy of the words. That should be eliminated E. So the finally D is our correct option. This is the best for you. Keep on watching, keep on enjoying EduShastra test, and of course that's called a flash test, and you will learn a lot of things. It is good dose for you for the learning purpose, because the more you will watch, the more you will get, and it will not take time to improve your learning. That's called learning without pay. Enjoy, have a nice moment, enjoy, see you soon.